This is Karla Pendleton again. This will be the final episode on painting One Fire Wild Roses. And we're going to be painting, and I'll try to zoom in here, this little butterfly that you see right here. It's in the design on the 8-inch plate that I'm painting from. And we're going to transfer that design over here onto the 10-inch plate that's part of the place setting. So, without further ado, let me get this camera situated so that you've got a bird's eye view of what I'm doing here. And we'll try to zoom in just a little tighter so that you can try and see everything as I explain. So, this butterfly we are kind of seeing fully opened, and I'll use my 3/8 inch brush again. I put down the 1/2 inch brush for now, and I'm picking up some medium, wiping against the lip of the dish, and coming over here and going directly into some corn, that yellow color that we've been using so much of. And I'm going to put in these butterfly wings. So just taking, and I'm reloading quite often. I want to get plenty of paint on here. But this is a little bit more than I want to try to accomplish with my finger. So I'm actually using the brush, and I'm just reloading quite often to pull in this butterfly's shape. Now I'll turn around and pull in the other side. This is not my favorite view of the butterfly. I kind of like the in profile, in flight view a little bit better. But this is how we painted it for this place setting, and this is how we started out, so this is how we'll finish it. I'm going to come in here and just chop that down a little bit because I know it will try to get bigger as I go along. And we'll make this other side match as closely as we can. Just like us, no two butterflies are perfectly symmetrical. Their wing shape is always just a little bit different on each side. But we're not going to show that. It's a detail that we will try to accommodate when we need to, but we're not going to show much of it. Okay, and here is those top wings, the wings that are in the front of the butterfly. Here is the typical V shape that you see between them, and of course the body of the butterfly is going to be right in here and tapering. Okay, so we've kind of got it sketched in the way we want it. I would like to see a few more highlights on there, so I'm going to go into I'm going to take the paint off of that, most of the paint of it anyway. And I'm going to dip into the lemon yellow, which is the lighter shade of my two yellows. And maybe come in here and just show a few highlights. I've loaded the brush with that lemon yellow. Just trying to get a few highlights on those wings before I do the detail work. Here we go. Get a few more down there on those. And then we've got some pretty good highlights on this one. I'll just emphasize them a little more. And I think I'm going to take just a shade off of this other wing and flatten it out a little bit on the side there. It's a little bit too round, so I'm changing the shape a bit. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's get a little bit of the green color because that's our banding color. You may remember from the very first shot that I showed you of the 6-inch or 8-inch plate that we're matching. There's quite a bit of green in this butterfly, and I'm going to use Old Gold Green and just kind of lightly paint wet on wet. I've got a pretty heavy load here. Pulling in. I don't want to get rid of all of the yellow, but I do want to make sure we've got plenty of green on this butterfly. This is kind of a fantasy butterfly in a way, but butterflies are like pansies. You can always find something a butterfly somewhere in the world that looks like your fantasy butterfly. And if you really want to paint something that's not quite so matched to the piece that I'm looking at, of course you can let your fantasies go wild. Next, I'm going to take a liner brush. That would be this one right here. And I'm going to take a little bit of black green in this case. I'm going to thin it down with a little bit of medium so that it's a little bit more of an inky consistency. Now, I'm going to use a brush to do this. Some people prefer a pen, but I like the brush because depending on how I press, I can have lighter or darker or thinner or thicker lines, and I like to see that. But I do need to thin the paint down a little bit in this case, and I'm going to pick up some of that black green on this liner brush. I'm going to start putting in details, and the first one I'm going to put in is going to start at the top and pull down. It's almost like scroll work. If you're familiar with scroll work, we're just kind of highlighting and patterning. And now I'm pulling some more scrolls down the side of this wing. And now I have not picked up any more paint. I'm letting the paint flow off the end of this brush. And now I'll go over on this other side and do likewise. And those tails of those scrolls are always coming back in towards the center of the butterfly where the body is going to attach. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Just to get some veining in there. I'll also want to see some of that coming in this direction towards the body of the butterfly, and we'll do the same thing down here. I keep turning it around to make sure I've got strokes going the right direction. But really, like I tell a lot of people, I really only know one stroke. I just do it over and over, and I turn the piece as I work. I think it's easier that way to get the look that I want. Okay, so there's my butterfly. Let's go ahead and put a few more details. I like to show some rounded shapes up here where I'm kind of going against the scrolls that I just made. This is just so typical of butterflies. And you can do as much of this or as little as you like. Since I'm trying to look at the piece that I'm painting along with, I'll probably follow that pattern, but I may not do it all on this video because I may be running out of space on this SD card. So you can see I'm just kind of putting in some details here. I'll do the same thing down here. Maybe put a little bit more of a edge along this line here. And over here likewise. I'm not being too careful. And then, now this particular butterfly kind of has more spots than the normal, but it also does I also have this secondary layer here that I'll point out. Now I'm going the opposite direction as I did on those upper wings. Why? Because it's more interesting, I think, and it's my fantasy butterfly. And I also like to put on these butterflies, once I've put in got the wings majorly laid in, I also like to take a little bit of this enamel and paint mixture. It has a little bit of the corn, a little bit of the enamel. We mixed it in episode 1, I believe, and so it's going to look like this. I'm going to use it to dot in, and I might have to thin it down, but I think it's pretty good consistency still. And I'm going to dot in a few markings in these spaces. You can just use the white enamel if you want it to stand out a little more. But when it's fired, it gives a little bit of almost an iridescence to the wing here at the edges. Let's do some here. We'll put some in there. I'm kind of dotting it in or stroking it in as I get smaller. Do more dots and less strokes. Let's put a dot in there, dot in here, and we'll dot around this edge. I'm just laying it down, picking the brush straight up. Got a little bit carried away there, but you know what? It's not really something I think I need to correct. I do see one place where I might need an extra stroke, and I think I'll put that in right now, and that's right in here. Okay. I've got some extraneous paint that I'll clean up offline, and I don't want to do it right now and take up video time. So I'm going to take my old gold green, or not old gold green, the black green again, and I'm going to paint in the body of this butterfly.
COSSIA Tom Myers.
Yep, sir. There's my phone coming in at the exact wrong time. That's okay. I'll talk to Tom later. And we'll paint this butterfly in and just give it a little bit of a tail at the bottom. You can see what I'm doing. And we'll have to give him some antenna here. And maybe a matching one over here, or at least close to matching. I usually don't try to match them very closely. And then maybe a highlight along the body, towards the middle, and on the head. Not very much of one. Just a little bit of a suggestion of a highlight. And we're going to put those dots on that I talked about, and they're just random. They kind of tend to follow the veining pattern that we've established earlier. If you want to stretch those veins out some more at this point, you can. And then just dot along them randomly. Kind of like putting pollen on a flower. Down here we've got a little bit longer veining pattern, and we just use that black green to pull in some of those, place some more of those dots. This is actually loosely based on a butterfly that actually exists. And I think that's about it. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you have any questions, or you need some help with your technique, or whatever, or you need supplies, just give me a call. Karla Pendleton. My phone number to call or to text is 970-799-1788. I'd be happy to speak with you about anything we've covered in these videos. And also, if you need supplies, give me a call or email me at khpendleton@hotmail.com. Thank you so much. May God bless you for watching. Bye now.